Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about economics and crypto and lots of other fun things. As always, a free way you can support this channel. Hit that like button, leave a comment in the comment section for the algorithm. Turn on that notification button. Subscribe if you haven't already. But otherwise, okay, let's go ahead and dive on into this. I want to talk about two things in this video. I really want to talk about more than that, but two main things in this video. Number one, Uptober, we've used this word Uptober. Last week, Bitcoin dumped. If you saw my TikTok about it, I talked about last week was going to be a good time to buy the dip, that stochastic was going to reset, that a lot of these cryptos were going to put in lower lows and then move up and potentially, most likely, put in higher highs, including Bitcoin, which I believe is on the agenda for either this week or next week, something like that. Stochastic has bottomed out. It looks like we're good. We're ready for another move up in stochastic, although I wouldn't be surprised if we chopped along for this week and then saw something towards the mid or the end of the month for Bitcoin. And so here's thing number one, which I still haven't talked about yet. I haven't said yet. I believe that Bitcoin will hit a new all-time high this month, and I wouldn't be surprised even if it went as high as $80,000. So I do hold that belief. And if that happens, a Bitcoin move to a new all-time high, I believe also that Bitcoin dominance would peak and that we would start seeing some of that roll over into altcoins, and also in particular that meme coins would do very well. And even some of these small market cap cryptos. You might know what I'm talking about, but I can't legally talk about it, so I'm not going to talk about that particular meme coin, but there are multiple X's ahead for those small market cap meme coins, sub $10 million market cap meme coins, assuming we see a new all-time high for Bitcoin this month or November, whenever it is. A lot of those meme coins, I believe, are going to go on a tear. And so, okay, that's thing number one. Thought number one is this belief that we are going to see Uptober. Lots of influencers on X making fun of people calling for Uptober. I got some hate for that from somebody who shall not be named, but a big jerk, whatever. Anyway, while also calling for Bitcoin to go under $60,000 last week. He never mentioned that. But okay. There's the belief as to what's going to happen, but then there's also the game plan, and the game plan matters a lot more. And if you remember in March, I am not going to edit that out. In March, I had a belief and I had a game plan. And the more important thing is sticking to the game plan. Because, all right, here was my belief on the day that Bitcoin peaked at $73,800. I was bullish. Whatever Bitcoin peaks at, whenever that day is for 2024, maybe we go into 2025, on that day, I will be bullish. It will not really make sense to be bearish on that literal day. Now, maybe a few days later, it'll be easy to point to or difficult, but maybe I'll be able to point to, hey, I think that was the peak. But on the day, I'm going to be bullish. And on the day that Bitcoin peaked at $73,800, I was bullish. I thought it was going to go higher. And that's 99.99% of people thought that Bitcoin was going to go higher at the moment that Bitcoin peaked. That's just reality. Okay, that's not something to hold against people. But here's what's going to happen is shortly after the peak, or at some point after the peak, we will start seeing weakness in the charts, okay? We are in an uptrend right now. These altcoins have broken their downtrends, in particular, especially the altcoins. Many of them have broken their downtrends, and they are now in uptrends. They are putting in a series of higher highs and higher lows. Last week, we saw the higher lows. A lot of them, by the skin of their teeth, put in a higher low, and that was a perfect time to buy, which I was talking about during my live stream. So higher high, higher low. Maybe now it seems very likely that we are on our way with a lot of these altcoins towards putting in new higher highs. For some of them, like Tau and Sui, we've already seen higher highs as after they struggled for a decent amount of time at their retraces. And so eventually we're going to stop with these altcoins putting in higher highs. And then we'll see some weakness. We'll see, and what I want to see is a lot of confirmation, not just one or two altcoins, but a lot of them, maybe 20%, maybe 30, 40%, putting in when I start turning potentially bearish or crabbish, putting in a lower high or a lower low or a combination of those two things. And then no matter where Bitcoin is at that time, whether it doesn't hit a new all-time high, which I believe it will, or whether we see Bitcoin go well above $80,000, $100,000, even if we go in a straight uptrend with no lower highs up to $600,000 or something like that, the game plan, okay? The game plan is but to consider exiting the biggest chunk of my portfolio at those first signs of weakness, okay? A lower low or a lower high or a combination of the two forming. That's what I mean when I say that I'm going to let the market lead me. Now, you've heard from me this timeline, 2 to 4 months after the rate cuts. What you've got to, after the first rate cuts at least, what you've got to understand from that is that is my projection as to how long this is going to take for the markets to sort of reach their peak. But if I'm wrong, the game plan is to sell into belief and then keep on selling into thrill and euphoria, and then sell after euphoria to unwind a decent amount during that time. And so the plan is, whenever we start seeing the belief stage, and then whenever we start seeing that kind of weakness in the charts that I was talking about, that's when we exit, okay? So by all means, let us go to six-figure Bitcoin. Let us go to this full-blown alt season. But if it doesn't work out like that, we look for the weakness in the charts. And I think I can be helpful for that. I mean, it's a really simple thing. This is Charting 101. This is the very first thing that you should learn if you are looking at charts is, are we in an uptrend or are we in a downtrend or are we in a crab market? Altcoins are in an uptrend. Bitcoin at the end of September, for the first time since March, put in a higher high on the daily chart. I would say we are in an uptrend with Bitcoin. I would say I would be shocked. I'm going to go out on a limb here. If Bitcoin did not put in a new higher high by the end of next week, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was this week. So the end of next week, where are we? The end of next week, that's the middle of October. I would expect Bitcoin to, at some point between now and October 18th, there we go, October 18th, that Bitcoin would at any point during that time have gotten above $66,000, which was that higher high that we put in September. If that's not the case, all right, where are we? And the big thing that I would want to know is, have we put in a lower low or have we put in a lower high? But we'll evaluate at that time. My strong expectation is that we will have put in a higher high by next week, and we will operate. We'll see what happens after that. We could certainly crab along. We could certainly go lower. Maybe this move up to $64,500 wasn't quite a lower high, but it was just a little bit of a relief bounce on the way to a lower high from that $52,800 bottom in September. There are lots of possibilities. We're going to let the charts lead us. We're going to let the market lead us. Now, I don't see many reasons to be bearish. There's really only one reason that I see to be bearish right now, and this is how I'm going to close out the video. I posted this on TikTok. I posted it on X. The unemployment report was phenomenal. We saw unemployment come out at 4.1%. We saw upward revisions for August and September, but I did a deep dive and I saw that there were 785,000 government jobs added, which is the highest ever for September, and a lot of seasonal jobs added, which was also the highest ever for September. That communicates to me the possibility that certain powers that be want to make the economy look strong leading into the election. So my thesis with that is that we are still going to see strength leading into the next few months here, but then eventually that's going to catch up with us, and the numbers will not be able to be manipulated as easily because, not financial advice or just my opinion really, we're going to enter a recession in 2025. Up first, and then we'll see. Anyway, that's all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful rest of your week. I will most certainly be seeing you in another video. Peace.